Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. My name is Bob Malkin. I'm a professor of the practice of biomedical engineering and global health at Duke University. And I'm also emeritus, and I'm also the founder and acting director of the International Research Institute of North Carolina. We are a group of remote research laboratories. So before I talk about our programming and how you can get involved, let me just talk a little bit about what is a remote research lab. And I'll use my lab as an example. In my lab, we focus on global health generally, and specifically on medical instrumentation. So for example, here's a project that students were involved in. It was covered in this New York Times article, if you're interested in that. This is a device for treating or screening and treating cervical cancer in resource-poor settings. So you can see Dr. Walmer in the middle there wearing a colposcope, a head-mounted battery-operated colposcope. There are colposcopes available for this, and of course, in a resource-rich setting, you can use the Pap smear, the Dr. Papanikolaou smear, but that doesn't work in a resource-poor setting. Where there aren't enough labs, there aren't any ways to contact our patients. They don't have phones, they don't have mail, for example, so you can't send them a letter. This is gives a doctor an ability to go into a community, screen all the services for cancer in the community, and treat them all in one go without having to take a lab sample, send it off, get a letter back, call, etc. It's a great program. It's actually still available and has been used by thousands of women all over the world. Here's another example. I have a student working on this project right now. This is the Pratt pouch. It's a device developed by the students. There's a link to a BBC article about it at the bottom there if you're interested in what the students are doing. But briefly, it's a drug delivery system, and it prevents the transmission of HIV from mother to child if a mother delivers at home. Might sound like that, how could that possibly happen? That a mother who's HIV positive would deliver at home? 95% of the moms in Ethiopia deliver at home, including HIV positive, 67% in Tanzania. This device has been used millions of times, actually been 2.5 million uses. That's theoretically anyways, 2.5 million times that the transmission of HIV has been prevented from mother to child. And you can see Caroline holding the pouch there and me in the background. A really great project, and still have students involved in this project. This is one which just reached clinical trials about 3 weeks ago. Dr. Lee is in the middle. He's one of my colleagues from Duke University in this picture. It is an endoscope, a low-cost endoscope. Endoscopes are available, but they are $15,000 used, and even more if you want to buy a new one. Way more expensive than every clinic, for example, in Vietnam, where this is being rolled out, could possibly afford. So my students developed a low-cost version. It's $600 for this device. Of course, it does not do everything that the more sophisticated endoscopes do, but it does do enough. It does do enough to follow a patient post-cancer surgery, and also potentially even diagnose a throat cancer patient. Here's one more. This is, I think, our most recent paper, Sanjana Anand. She's still a high school student, actually, right now. She's just finishing up high school. And she published this paper just a few weeks ago, actually. It was right at the end of last year. This is a really interesting study. It's the first study to really look at scale at the effects of vaping and the vaporizers used, both for nicotine-containing and non-nicotine-containing liquids, and the suppression of the immune system. She studied, I think, about 1,000 people who vape and some controls as well who do not, and found, in fact, that just vaping, no matter what substance you're using, just the fact that you're vaping gives you longer cold and flu symptoms and more frequent colds and flus because your immune system is suppressed. This is the first study of its kind, and I think it's going to be a really important step towards much larger studies that really focus in on the impact of vaping, no matter what the liquid is in the pen. So if you're interested, you can join IRI. IRI specializes in human subjects research, but actually we do research across a wide range of areas. Lots of advantages to working with IRI. First of all, and again, just to emphasize, this is completely remote. So this is not on campus at Duke. This is for folks who are not able to come to campus. You get to work with, nevertheless, great faculty. That's probably the most important part of doing this research. If you're interested in doing research, you want to work with great faculty. IRI has great faculty. If you are part of an IB school, you can, of course, everyone learns to conduct research. That's probably the most important skill you'll come away with, but you can also use it as part of your IB requirements, the CAS or the extended essay. I think a lot of people are interested in doing research because, in fact, it improves your college admission. It improves your application strength. Of course, it shows that you're dedicated to an extracurricular activity. You get letters of recommendation from faculty. If you do decide to do the human subjects research, then you'll get the human subjects research certificate. And ultimately, if you join IRI like Sanjana, you can publish a paper in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. If you think about it, when you're applying to university, you're gonna have to write essays. What are they looking for? I did 2 years of admissions at Duke. I can tell you I read thousands of essays. What we're looking for is clarity of thought, clarity of reasoning, and clarity of expression. If you've published, you've already demonstrated those skills. So it could really show some skills that, frankly, thousands of the thousands of applications I read, maybe 1 or 2 were able to show that they had published a peer-reviewed scientific journal, an international journal. We have 3 programs that you can get involved in. Our research assistant program is our sort of flagship program. That's our lead program. You work as a full member of a lab, you attend lab meetings, you get to know your professor very well, and you're working towards a publication. Typically that starts in the summer, at least a lot of people start that in the summer, but will continue throughout the following academic year for just about everybody. Our introduction to research program is much shorter. That tends to be only over the summer. So you join for 1 summer, also much less time per week, and you complete the first couple of steps of research, a literature review. Mostly going to be working with our graduate students, but you do work with faculty. All of our students work with the faculty, not just the graduate students, not just the PhD candidates. You also work with faculty. And finally, the science beat. The science beat is an opportunity usually for younger students to combine interests in music and science. You take a single journal article and you write a rap song. It's a partnership with the Indiana University School of Music. So you get to know the faculty there, as well as our science faculty. It's a great program. We do have a lot of different options. If you are interested in the intro program, it comes in an 8-week format, a 4-week format, a 2-day program format. So if you're interested in the intro program, really, we probably have a format that will work for you. Last thing I wanted to mention, if you do want to get a hold of me, you can absolutely do that. My email address is on the screen. I'll type it in the chat window here in just a second, robert.malkin@duke.edu. And you can also directly, if you have questions about IRI, find us at info@irinc.edu. And I'll type that in the chat window in just a moment as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attention.